Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen who are joining in for today's webinar. You are all welcome. We hope you've been enjoying your working lives and staying safe, making sure we all defeat COVID-19. Yeah, so far we have 29 people registered, and so I think soon we would be going live. Today's webinar is what we would say it's a more closed webinar. It wasn't open to all the general public like the previous 6 webinars that we've organized. So this we wouldn't be getting too many people. So we hope that the few who have registered would all join so that we can have a smooth discussion today. Today's webinar is on strategy and remote coaching. Basically, we'll be talking about strategies that we have to develop as SMEs to make our business grow, to make our businesses survive. This has also come out as a result of all the COVID relations. So our experts cannot meet face to face, but thanks to technology, we can always meet and have these discussions and then plan ahead. So today we have our international expert, Vidat Kunt, who will take us through the webinar, who will take us through strategy development, what it takes, what it means, what to do, have value propositions, and position ourselves to take advantage of development in the long to short term. And then we'll be able to make our businesses thrive beyond 1 year and stay and do new products for our people. So on behalf of the Wacom team, I welcome all those who have joined, at least for now. I guess as we move along, others would be joining. So we welcome you all to today's webinar. Like I said, it's on strategy development, and we would hope that if you have questions as Vidat moves on, you can type your question. If you don't understand any slide or there's any input you want to make, we still use, the rules haven't changed. We use the Q&A button for all the questions, and then we can move ahead from there. Before we kickstart, we have a poll, so I put a poll up. We just answer these questions, and then it would help us also to move on. So please, I entreat all of you to answer this. It helps with that to also get a fair idea of what is happening. So we have these 2 questions. Have you ever developed a business strategy for your company? It's a yes or no answer. And then when is the last time you revised it? Last month because of COVID, in the last quarter, during the last year, I have never revised it. I do not have one. So it always gives the resource person a fair idea to know who is there. Good. So we entreat everybody to go through. Yes, it's going. We have 5 more people to go. We have 11, yes, 4 more people. So please. Five more people. May I please entreat everybody to give us the answer so that Vidat would, it helps the resource person every time, even with the presentation, know where to stress, and then he knows how to turn things around. 4 more participants to go, 4 more attendees. Would you please do it for us so that we can wrap up? 3 more to go. Thank you. We have 2 more participants. Would the 2 please click on 1, 2 for us so that we wrap up? Thank you. And the last person, 1 more to go, so we have 100%. 1 more person. The last man or the last woman standing. Good. All right, so the poll is closed. So this is the results. So 63% says they have, yes, they have a company strategy or a business strategy. 38% do not have. When was the last time you revised it? 13% say in the last quarter. 31% say during the last year. 25% I have never revised it. And then 31% also say they do not have one. So it means they have never revised it. So this is the result for Vidat. So on this lovely note, I hand over to our experts, Vidat Kunt, to take us through the session whilst I take a backstage. And so on behalf of the Wacom team, welcome all of you, and we hope you would enjoy today's webinar like we've done in the previous ones. On that note, thank you very much, and Vidat, please take over.
Thank you, Charles. Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Let me have a couple of seconds to share my screen. Yes, hope everybody is able to hear me clearly and also see the slides. So today's topic is about strategy, and we will give you a glimpse of how we are planning to remote coaching for the next couple of, let's say, months, since this pandemic has disrupted most of the services that we've been providing face-to-face, on-site. So we return to the webinars and distant learning, as well as this planned remote coaching, which we're launching at the moment. So the content of the webinar today is, first of all, I mentioned a few things about how we're planning this remote coaching and learning program, and then go into the seminar on strategy development. And in particular, I will mention things about how we develop a strategy, what is a strategy, and how we develop it for any kind of business, how to plan the future, choosing the right business model. I will mention very briefly about the business model, but in the future we can, during these coaching sessions, we will go back and work on the business models, hopefully, and the value proposition for the target customer, consumer or user or markets. And also, last but not least, mention a few things about balancing the expected outcomes, performance of a business. So, about the details. As I mentioned, today's topic is business strategy, 19th June 2020. Today, we will do this. But from now on, we are starting a program on coaching and distant learning. So what we require will be after today, after learning more about strategy and how to develop strategy and how to plan the future, we will require businesses who want to continue with the coaching to prepare their business strategies, one-page business strategies, and submit to the consultant, who is me, not later than 1st of July. And then hopefully one-on-one, and maybe some of them, and mostly some of them, will be group sessions for business strategy coaching. Will kick off in about first week of, or the first half of July. Once business strategies are finalized, companies will benefit from coaching and training sessions on various subjects. This will comprise of quality and certification, marketing and branding, packaging, and more subjects, but this will depend on the needs identified during the sessions, during the strategy sessions between the coach and the company owner themselves. Besides, we're planning to launch the online marketing, coaching and learning program from 17th of July onwards. So information about this special program will also be sent to you, I think in a short time. So the ones who are interested or who has a need on online marketing, urgently can subscribe and start with this one. So I will also talk about this at the end. So there might be some latecomers to the webinar, or some of you might need a reminder. So I will mention the same slide at the very end. Now about strategy. Strategy is like a maneuver to outpace opponents. It has different meanings, and it comes from the art of war. When people started to make war, fight with each other, and then came the strategy to win, how to use weapons, how to attack the enemy, which part of the geography to choose to attack. Conspiracies, these and that, these were all strategies, you know, and then came the tactics, which were like day-to-day, week-to-week moves to outperform the enemy. So it's like a maneuver to outpace opponents. In any kind of business, you have several opponents. So you want to get ahead of them, leave them behind in the competition. So it's kind of a maneuver. It's a system of actions that you plan for the next couple of years, even longer, so that it becomes a system that you work in. All the processes are becoming a part of that system. It's also a positioning against competitors and the market itself. How you position your company, how you position your brand, how you position against the competition. A logical and purposeful plan. It's a plan. You plan everything. You plan your human resources, you plan your financial resources, your technology, the information and the knowledge you need, the networks you need to move into the channel, so on and so forth. So it's a logical and purposeful short, medium, and long-term plan. And it's a perspective, how you perceive the world, how you see the world is changing. First of all, everything is changing. Technology is changing, perceptions are changing, needs are changing. So it's a kind of a perspective that you have about the world. And it's a clarity of direction and consistent focus for the business. Without a strategy, it's very difficult to have a direction, and it's very difficult to have a focus. It's otherwise, without a strategy, it's a day-to-day decisions. Basically, the boss or the top managers make in big businesses. Without a strategy, they get lost. So you need a direction and you need a focus. Focus of the strategy is to foresee the future. With the strategy, you think what will happen in the future, how the world will change, and by doing the implementation, you create the future. So it sounds very complicated, but at the same time, it's quite simple. You try to see and learn how the future will shape, and then you align your resources and processes accordingly, so that you seize the opportunities, you benefit from seeing these opportunities and aligning yourself accordingly. For example, during the pandemic, some of the businesses all around the world, but especially in Ghana, made some very quick moves. They saw what is changing, what they will be able to sell, what they will not be able to sell, what they will be able to supply, what they will not be able to supply. So they changed some products. They went to some new products areas, some new service areas, and they benefited even from the pandemic. I mean, this is not good to say, but some of the companies with the right change at the right time, seeing the change at the right time and adapting to the change, made it better than the opponent. So it was a very good maneuver for them. It was a very good system of excellence and position. All businesses aim to create value. In order to do this, seize the opportunities, understand the problems and put them in a frame, and try to provide solutions which are essential for the customers or the market. And whatever you do, all efforts are concentrated towards the customers, being aware of what kind of value you're offering them. And you need to establish a very strong relationship with them to appropriate products and meaningful experiences. Even if you are selling a very simple, small product, for the customer, it's an experience. From where they buy, how much they buy it for, how much they pay it for, how do they use it? Is it a gift or is it used by them or by their family? How long does it last? So on and so forth. I mean, you can keep on asking similar questions. So understanding the touch points with the customer, and then once they buy the product, how they use it, how they consume it, and even get rid of the packaging, for example. Is it going into the circular economy, or do they just simply throw it to the waste basket? How can it be used further on, so on and so forth? And this is the total experience. So in this experience history, we have touch points with the customer, and we call it the customer experience as a whole. So everything is about the value you provide and the customer experience you design and provide to the customers. And any kind of business, whatever you do in the world, it's ultimately about people. And it's about connecting with the people. It's about creating and establishing relationships with the people and see how the world is changing and adapting to this change and creating value all the time and all the time. This might again look a little bit complicated, but first of all, coming back to the poll at the beginning, about 63% of the participants told us that they have a business strategy. And it might be confusing. Is it a business strategy? Is it a marketing strategy? Is it a production strategy? So I want to make a little bit more clarification on this. Strategy has a hierarchy in itself. The business strategy, or if you're a big conglomerate, then you have, of course, a corporate strategy, which is coming from top to bottom. But knowing that most of the participants are either very small micro businesses or medium-sized businesses, it's usually the business strategy where we start from. Once you have a business strategy, which comprises from the values you have, your mission, which means what kind of business you are doing, and your vision, your long-term perspective, and then short and long-term goals attached to these, to the mission and vision, and the competitive edges you have so that you can build your business on this. And once you have a business strategy, then you have several strategies which are aligned with your overall business strategy. And then you have the marketing strategy, you have the human resources strategy, you have the financial, technology, innovation strategies, quality strategy, production strategy. You can go on, add more strategy items to the list. If you go deeper, for example, for marketing strategy, which we will, in July, August, we will touch base with, it's about the marketing mix. Basically, it's about the product, it's about the price of the product, it's about the promotion, how to promote yourself, your brand, your company, and your products in the marketplace. And also the place, the 4 Ps of the marketing place means the channel, the distribution channel where you're selling it. Are you selling on the internet? Are you selling in retail? Are you selling to wholesalers? Are you selling to domestic markets, regional, global, etc.? And then there is the branding. If you own a brand, or if you don't own a brand, if you're planning to establish a brand, that is part of the marketing strategy. And then the customer experience you design and you implement all throughout your marketing history. So if we look from top to bottom again, at the top, you have your business strategy. Why you exist, what you do, your perspective for future and the values you have, short and long-term goals, and your competitive edges. Once you have this business strategy, and then you go down to the functional strategies, marketing, human resources, financial, etc. If we look a little bit more in detail with the business strategy, first of all, we start with what and why. What we do, why we do it. For example, if you're in the cosmetics business and you define your business as I am producing in a nutshell, I'm producing body care products. If you define your business like this, you're stuck in it. But if you define your business in a more, let's say, broader perspective, like I am or we are producing body care products to help people feel better, happier, healthier, then your perspective is much more broader. Then you can produce anything related with the body. Even, for example, cotton towels you can produce or have produced and sell under your brand, or some other gadgets you can sell together with the body care creams and etc. So the perspective and the what and why has a critical importance in your business strategy. So first you have to define the mission, which means what you're producing and what you're producing, why you exist, in fact. And then the values, the things that are part of your everyday life and you believe and you never give up. For example, you might say, we are a company who respects the planet. We don't do anything for pollution, etc., etc. And then, of course, once you position yourself with this kind of a value, and then there are several things that you have to stick with. For example, using plastics or polluting the environment. These are very critical things for the company, since you say that your values restrict yourself against this kind of material, for example. The third important part of the business strategy at the very beginning is the vision. Today, you might be a very small company, but in the next 5-10 years, you might be a huge company in Ghana, maybe a global company as well. So how you see the future? Your vision is important, both for yourself, for the company, people working with you, your suppliers, your government, authorities, and also for the market. People would like to see you, would like to see how you look into the future, how you see the future, and how you will shape the future. So your vision is important. And then according to this mission, values, and vision, you identify your specific goals, short, mid-term, and long-term targets. Doing this, you need to look into the world. You have to do a sector analysis. You have to analyze the customer and market trends. You have to analyze the environmental factors, which we call the Pest Analysis, which is an ever-changing thing. I mean, you analyze the environment today, and the next 5 minutes, things might change. So this should be done on a continuous basis. I've seen that during the poll, some of you said, maybe 50 to 80% said you either never or not visited your business strategy for more than a year. So this is quite a critical mistake. Because things change, and you have to adapt yourself. So you have to look into the environmental forecast in a periodical way. You have to understand how things are changing legally, economically, socially, technologically, environmentally, so on and so forth. So you have to analyze everything on a continuous basis. You have to analyze your competitors, see what they are selling, what they're producing and selling, in which markets, for how much they are selling, their brands, their packaging, their logos, and everything. You have to understand this. And then you do an internal analysis, which means your inside strengths and weaknesses from the perspective of finance, from the perspective of human resources, your technology, your production capabilities and capacity, your quality and standard compliance, everything, and your resources and your overall culture, business culture and company culture. So these goes in like an input into your once you're setting the goals and targets. These analysis feeds the mission and vision, so you come up with a final idea of how you set the targets correctly. Strategy, developing the strategy until this stage is quite difficult. It's kind of I mean, you have to have this muscle in you, and if you're a mid-sized company with the people, your human resources you're doing, you have to have this muscle capacity so that you first try a couple of times. It might be quite difficult, and then it becomes easier every year or every period you do it, it becomes much more easier. But once you have it, on the paper, it might look very good, but implementing it is another thing. Then you need a structure, you need the right processes to implement it. You need some policies in your company of how people will work for the strategy and strategy development and strategy implementation, the activities to implement it. You have to use some symbols. People should be there. There should be rewards for success, so on and so forth. So in a nutshell, you start with what you're doing and why you're doing. You need a long-term perspective. You need your values in the company, and then analyze the inside and outside, inside the company and outside the environment. Set goals and targets, and then start implementing it with structures, processes, people, policies, etc. It's about knowing the mountain you're climbing. There's a mountain in front of you, a big mountain, usually, especially for a startup business, for an entrepreneur, but also for small and big size, mid-sized companies. And especially during these critical periods like this year, for example, when a huge pandemic strikes and sometimes you're out of business. In a couple of days, you're out of business. Everything is disrupted. The supply chain is disrupted. Your production processes stop. And there's no market. You cannot sell. So, I mean, these are things that happen, I mean, huge risks that happen, I don't know, once in your lifetime maybe, but these are the difficult mountains. But even without these huge risks, there are always mountains you have to climb. So first, you have to understand what kind of a mountain you're climbing. This guy called Sun Tzu, he lived about 2,005 years ago. He was one of the most famous Chinese commanders of war. And upon his strategies, war tactics, later on, a book was written named Art of War. If you can find it, I think you can also find it on the internet easily. It's a very famous book. And this book is where the business strategies are based on. And this person says it very simply: know yourself, which is your company, know your enemy, which is your opponents, and the terrain that you're having a war. That means the market. So know the company itself, know the competition, and know the market. If you know these very well, and then you can adapt your products and services accordingly. Now, coming back to the first step, which is the very critical first step, values, mission, and vision. Values, which means what is meaningful and valuable for us. Things we should and we should not do. Laying fundamentals for decision making, and a few rules always obeyed and becomes part of corporate culture and performance management system. So any company, whether small or not, maybe a startup with one entrepreneur, nobody working for the company, should have values. Then the mission. In a funny way, you can say mission is what is wrong with the world and how you intend to fix it. So it's the purpose and reason for the organization. It promotes shared expectations and communicates the company to the public image. And it means who we are, what we do, what we aspire to. And you can also have slogans attached to it. For example, make you happy, cool you down, make life easier. This will also look very nice when you're promoting your company and brand. And the strategy is the bridge between the mission and vision, because mission is what you're doing at the moment with some values. But vision is where you want to go in the next 3, 4, 5, or 10 years. So it is the main roadmap for you, which is bridging mission and vision. And the vision is, as I told you in a funny way, what mission was, which is what is wrong with the world and how you intend to fix it. And then the vision becomes what the world will look like after you fix it. So you want to fix something. You want to fix some problems with the customers, with the market, with your products and services. And in the next 5 years, you will see a different world. And that's what your vision is. And it's a message describing future, a picture of success, but it should be at the same time achievable, realistic, understandable, ambitious, inspiring, motivating. So that's the vision. Without these 3 main pillars, the values, the mission, and the vision, I would say it's quite difficult to be successful. I mean, it's not a guarantee that once you have this written down, fixed, agreed upon, you will be successful. I don't say that. But without these, it becomes much more complicated. Because if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't matter where you go, where you end up. How to put 3 to 5 year goals, especially for small companies. 3 to 5 years, it's the future. It's a very, very long time. So we can call them the long-term key objectives and some indicators we have to attach. So what service product will we offer and to whom? Is it going to be in Ghana, or is it going to be in a smaller region of Ghana? It can be the southern region, or only in Accra, or the Western Africa region, or are you going to work globally, the whole world? How will we operate? Your processes, technologies, your team, your financial resources and financial performance, your know-how, etc. You can add anything to that. How are we going to be different from today? Today, we're a small company with 10 people working. We produce so much and we sell so much to the Ghanaian market. But in the next 10 years, we will be 100 people. We will be producing more products, different products, innovative products with a laboratory, this and that, and we'll be selling to the whole world. So that's a long-term objective. And you have to be compliant to SMART targets that will take you to your vision. Once we say SMART targets, it means specific, it means measurable, it means attainable, it means relevant to your mission, and it means time-based. So you don't say we will be in the top 3 biggest companies in our sector. You say we will be the top 3 biggest companies in our sector by 2025. So it's time-based, relevant, hopefully, attainable, maybe, measurable. Yes, it can be measured because you look at the records from the, I don't know, some authorities, and you can see according to your revenue, according to your export figures, so on and so forth, you can measure it. And is it specific? Yes, it's specific. It means that it shows you that you're growing in one way. How to make it simple, especially for entrepreneurs or small companies. We don't want to be too complicated. So on a 1 page, you can write down everything. You can start with the values. You have a list of values, and then you identify your mission and your vision, where you want to go, and what kind of a value you want to propose to the market. Then you have a long-term strategy where you want to reach in the next 5 years, 3 or 5 years, and long-term big goals accordingly. A midterm strategy, this might be maximum 1 year maybe, and midterm big goals. Metrics, how you will measure your success or your achievements. Indicators, especially key performance indicators. And of course, you will have actions, what to produce, how to sell, where to sell, to whom to sell, from whom to supply, which kind of supplies or processes you will outsource, which you will then do in-house, so on and so forth. What kind of strategic alliances you will make so that you reach your target. So on a one page, this is how a strategy looks. I will request you to prepare a table like this. I go back. It's the resume of one-page strategy. You can have a different format if you want. But for the companies who wants to continue with the coaching and training on strategy and with other subjects, we kindly ask you to prepare this table, not later than 1st of July, so we can evaluate, and then we will identify what kind of a program we will establish, and what will be the frequency of our meetings, group meetings, one-on-one meetings, etc. So on top, you will have the values, and then the vision, your big dream, long-term targets, long-term focus areas, midterm goals, midterm focus areas, key metrics, and an annual theme for 2020. Just an example. And by the way, we will share these PowerPoint slides so that you can have a look, and you can either copy paste or you can improvise easily. This is a consulting company example. Our values: always collaborate, relentlessly create value, get results, get better, innovate, never ever give up. These are the values we have. And the vision is, we are a thriving business growth consultancy company. We drive so many US dollars annual revenue with 30% net profit margin. We are sought around the world for our ideas on innovation and growth. By the way, for example, if you have a vision for annual revenue, please write it down. Don't leave it as XXX. Write it down as $100,000 US, $50,000 or $1,000 US, whatever it is. Be realistic. We are sought around the world for our ideas on innovation and growth. As a philanthropic company, we give back 10% of our consultant time to support humanitarian organizations. And the big dream is take an 8-week vacation in Africa with no emails, no attachments. So just pure vacation. And I have good friends now in Ghana. Maybe I don't need this company anymore to do this, to fulfill this big dream. I can come and stay in Ghana for 8 weeks for vacation, maybe next couple of years. Long-term targets, 2022. Revenue, so much dollars. Earnings become interest, tax, and depreciation, so much US dollars. And 10 weeks of vacation. This is a little bit funny, but it shows how you want to live your life. Long-term focus areas: marketing, technology, strategic alliance, and human resources development. Midterm goals, which is 2020, end of 2020. Again, revenue, again, EBITDA, and to become 100% debt-free. Midterm focus areas, again, marketing, systems and processes, a little bit different than technology, strategic partnerships, which will take us to alliances afterwards, and the new office location, move the office. Key metrics are revenue, profit, number of proposals submitted per month, and number of partnerships established. An annual theme, focus on details, which means we are lacking a little bit of focus on details, so we want to focus more and more on details. So this is just an example, which we kindly ask you to prepare. And if you have any problems or difficulties, we will be able to discuss and prepare it together. A little bit more about business model. Once we start with the strategy coaching and distance learning, We will more focus on business models because it's a way of interpretation of strategy, and it's very useful and very joyful model to work on. So an organization's business model is a part of its overall strategy. It's the nuts and bolts behind how the organization plans to achieve its goals. It's the logic model that defines how the organization creates, distributes, and sustains the value. Let me show you. This is how it, very easy, very childishly easy. At the heart of everything, you have this gift box, which is the value proposition. Let me go one slide and then I will come back. So at the very center, you have what you produce. Coming to that, the backstage is how you produce it, to whom you produce, which is the customer, which brings you rewards, which is the revenue or the earnings, and the costs, which are the inputs for how you produce it. So normally rewards should be more than the cost. You make money, you make profit. But this is the logic. So going back, you have different customer segments. Whatever you buy, whatever you sell, you usually answer the needs of different customer segments. And you establish some relationships with the customer. And you have some channels for this establishment. And this side, this right side of the canvas, brings you the revenue. So with the customer, you deliver the value, design and produce and deliver the value, and you get your money. This is the revenue. And on the left side, this is the backstage, where you have the key activities. You produce, you outsource, you bring things from the suppliers, so on and so forth, which are the key activities. And there are some key partners. You partner with a logistics company, you partner with another producer, you partner with a supplier, etc. And these are the key partners. And you have the cost structure, and you have your key resources. Key resource, you might be an excellent production technology. You might have the best market knowledge. You might have the best recipe for a food or cosmetic product. So these are the key resources you have. And a combination is the value you deliver to your customer on the market. Questions you have to ask yourself for a strong business model. Why would customers buy the product? And what is the need? What kind of need they have and why they will buy? What market segments will you be operating in? There are different market segments. If you want to answer all the needs from all the market segments, you will have problems producing all kinds of different products for it. So the right market segment is important for you. Who are the competitors in these market segments? Most probably you are not alone. There are people from the neighborhood, there are people from your country, there are people from the region, from the world. Everybody is trying to sell something to your target market segment. What are your competitive advantages compared to these opponents? Your technology, your packaging, your brand name, the ingredients you have, or the closeness to the market where you sell. What are your competitive advantages? And what is your marketing strategy at the end of the day? What kind of product mix, so marketing mix you have? What organization structure will best represent and realize your business model? Is it a one-person show? Or is it a team with skills, with knowledge, so that you can go into different market segments, different channels very easily? And how you will make the money? I mean, this might sound like a stupid question, but is it like putting your product on a shelf, selling it to a retail store, they sell it and they pay you back? Or do you have another business model where you get the money from? The product is free, but you get something else. You get an advertisement on top of it. That's also a new business model. Well, we see that nowadays, I mean, especially the last decade or last 2 decades, there are businesses which are so huge, so rich, that these kind of businesses and money-making business models never existed before. In the old days, you produced, you sold. But now, there are brands which produce nothing. They own the brand, and money comes in through different means and channels. So it's always good to make exercises on it for new business models and how you can create money for your business. And once we do the canvas, I mean, this is a long process, of course. It's not a 5-minute decision. This is a simplified version from a real client of ours in Turkey, quite big, one of the biggest food retailers, cakes, sweets, fruit juices, anything related with cafe business. And they are big producers with about 200 outlets all around the world. So we were working with them. Anyway, this is a simplified version, but you can see how we work with post-its on each part. On the 9th part, there are 9 parts, like key partnership, key activities, so on and so forth. And with discussions, we identify everything. For example, the value here is creating margin to franchises. The franchisees want more margin, as always. So if you create more margin to them, they make profit and they like your product and they want to sell more. So how we can, the value we offer with a new product line, new business line, is higher margins. And looking at the consumer, it's going to be made for you concept. Imagine a huge operation, but in a remote, let's say remote town, somebody orders a cake, a daily baked fresh cake, and you make it happen for the special moment. If you look here to the customer segment, there are functional needs, desires, values, special moments, emotional needs, expectations, touch points with the customers. But to fulfill this special moment, one lady might be asking for a huge cake for the birthday of her daughter, and you deliver it on time from a central organization. That is the value. It's not too easily doable. So the new product line or the new service line was targeting this kind of a model. Revenue streams, the distribution revenues, corporate revenues, they're selling these kind of products to corporates, big corporates. They distribute it among the traditional distribution channels, and new customers come in, and also they sell it through call centers and from the internet. So these are all revenue streams. And if you look at the cost structure, yes, there's a capital expenditure to establish this kind of a business model. Cost of goods sold for sure in every business. There are operational expenses for sure. And then there's borrowing in US dollars or euros. So the foreign exchange costs are also part of the cost structure. And then you have, as a key partnerships, you have suppliers, logistics partners, manufacturing partners, and innovation partners. So they outsource some of the manufacturing as well. And the key resources for this is important. They have a winning culture. The company is very aggressive, and they're always concentrated on winning. They're very creative, so creativity is a resource. Teamwork is very good, very strong, and the leadership is very strong. So these are the key resources other than the technology, the classical resource things. These are the important parts. So in the future, when we work on with you on business model, this is what we will try to design for each of the businesses, for so what's happening at the moment, and for new business models, for new products and new customer segments. You have to plan everything, design and plan everything according to this mindset. I will say a few things about the value proposition. The value proposition is the gift you offer to the customer, and the customer does something with it. For example, when I come to Ghana, I always buy several personal care products, cosmetics. But nobody knows what I do with those products. I don't need 10 different body creams, but I buy 10. Why? simply because they are gifts. When I'm coming back from Ghana to my town, to my family or friends, they always say, Ghana, very interesting place. What did you bring us? So a shea buttercream, for example, is it's easy to carry if it's in a good package. It's a very good gift, and it's from Ghana. Shea butter is from Ghana, so it's a special gift. So everybody loves it. But the person or at the airport duty-free shop where I buy from, or from some of the producers I buy, they don't know how I use it. So you have to understand the customer jobs. When I buy your product, whether it's cassava, whether it's something related with fruit or with cosmetics, you need to know why I buy it, how I use it, where I use it, how much I want to pay for it, so on and so forth. If it's a gift, I can pay more. If it's for myself, I can pay less maybe. You don't know. I have problems, and from this product, I will have some advantages. So your gift, which is the value you offer to the customer, is the product itself and the service itself. So you have to design it and produce it according to the needs of the customer, which is the customer segment. It's the best if you can design everything for each individual, but this is very difficult, of course. Then you segment the market and produce accordingly. Some questions which are important to assess your business model is the switching cost high or low? I mean, when I buy your product, your fruit juice, should I stick to it for the rest of my life, or is it very easy for me to switch to another brand? Recurring revenues, 100% of my sales are transactional, or is it recurring revenues? Earning versus spending. Do I spend first and then earn, or do I earn first or spend later? Is it a game-changing cost structure? I produce in such a way that nobody is able to match my low cost structure, so I have a huge profit or price advantage. Do I do everything on my own, or other people work for you? Other businesses work for you, so they do the main thing and you take advantage of it. Scalability. I can produce 10 products, 20 products, but can I take it up to 1,000, 10,000, 1 million? Is it scalable? Is the model scalable? If I do it for one segment, can I do it for different segments? And can I keep myself away from competition? Protect myself from the competition. Do they copy? Do they steal the idea? And they do the same. So these are the questions you should ask yourself all throughout the way. I think we are more or less on time. I had 45 minutes, but before ending up, I just want to go back up. Sorry for this, but I want to repeat myself. The first slide. Yes, this one. For the companies who want to continue with strategy, and then with the other functional topics like quality, marketing and branding, etc., on group sessions and one-on-one sessions for coaching and e-learning, we kindly ask you to prepare this one-page strategy and submit to me or to Charles or to our cluster managers before the 1st of July, so that we can evaluate and come up with a nicely designed plan to provide you with these trainings and coachings. We're planning to start these sessions from the end of first week of July, probably in the second week of July. So we will have about a week to evaluate everything. And once the business strategies are finalized, we will start with the more in-depth subjects, as I told you, about marketing and branding, packaging, etc. And online marketing, coaching and e-learning will start on 17th of July. But this will be the information, the further information will be sent to you I think next week or maybe beginning of July. So, reminding you again, I think I'm finishing up. I think I hope it was a good session for you. New windows in front of your eyes and a new perspective. Some of you might know these kind of things very well. Some of you, maybe it's the first time you listen to it. But let's start working on it. Let's start working on your mission, your values, your vision, objectives, and targets, and how we are going to do it. So that was it. Thank you very much for your participation. And I give the floor to my dear friend, Charles.
Thank you very much, Vedat. Maybe you need a glass of water. Thank you for such a nice presentation. And there are a few questions that we will take. Whilst we take the questions that we have now, we would also give participants the chance. If you raise your hand, we'll also give you the chance to ask your questions directly. Today, we are a closed group, like I said, not too many people. So I think we'll be able to take some of the questions. Vedat, the first question is that somebody wants you to elaborate on the annual theme on the sheet. I think, which sheet was that? I lost it. I wrote it before. Okay, so I'll pick it up again. But then the next question is that what's the difference? What do you differentiate between business strategy and then the BMC?
What is a BMC?
So the fellow who wrote that, can you please help us? Okay, hand is raised.
I will answer in the meantime to kindly elaborate on annual theme on the sheet. For example, on our example, I said focus on details. We are lacking focusing on details. I mean, we were going too quick on everything. You just try to finish everything, but losing the impact of focusing on details. So this year, we will focus on details of production, details of submitting proposal, details on this and that. So this is the annual theme. Next year, it must be new product development. The year after, there might be another theme. Let's say protecting the environment. These are like slogans for the company for every year, or it might be biannual as well. I mean, this is completely on you. Make something which is kind of appealing, which is kind of moving people around this idea, so that you can. This takes you, which kind of a theme which takes you to your vision. That's what I mean. You don't have to do this, but it's very nice. It really helps people to get around the same idea.
All right. One question, then now we allow those with their hands raised to come in. Are we going to share the business model canvas, the templates, or you want them to use their own templates?
They can use whatever they want. This is now a universal thing, business model canvas. It's a part of the strategy. As I told everyone, it's the bolts and nuts of the strategy, business strategy. It's not the overall business strategy, but it's part of it, how you implement it, how you understand the value, the customer segment, and the key activities that you do to fulfill your ambitions. So they can use their business model canvas. We can send it. It's very easy. I mean, once we share this, the slides, we can attach a blank one so that they can do it on that one. I mean, put post-its and use it. But at the moment, we are only asking about this one-page strategy, which is this one.
All right.
Slide 12.
Okay, that is fine. Yes, somebody asked, yes, the presentations or the webinar is being recorded and it will be available on our website. Latest by end of today, we'll just do a few editing, and by end of day, it will be uploaded. So those who missed it, they can also get to the website and then have access to it. The colleagues who raise their hands, Okay, so Tapon, you can go ahead. Tapon, please go ahead.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Yeah, sir, please. When you were talking, you mentioned about a book that we should, strategic management that we should go and read. I really didn't get it very well. And another question is, the coaching, the one-on-one coaching that will be starting on the 17th of July, is it, if you are interested, how do you go about it? Or is it a different arrangement? Is it the same arrangement as this? Thank you.
The online marketing coaching and learning sessions. I think that's the question, which will start on 17th. How to apply it? I think it's better you answer it, Charles.
Yeah.
I think it will
Yes,
be.
so for those, please get in touch with any of our experts, Na, Frank, and then Joseph, depending on the commodity you produce. If you are in cosmetics, then I guess you're in a platform with Na, so please give your name to Na and it will be taken care of. We'll give you the details. If you are with cassava and derivatives, then Joseph Yeboah, our expert, is there to help you. And for our fruit, mango and pineapple actors, Frank Kwesi is also available to give you all the details. Now, Vidat, I think the book you talked about was the Art of War.
The book I mentioned was, it's a very simple book, like quotations. It's called Art of War, of Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu is a Chinese commander who lived 2,500 years ago. So it's the first strategy person, I mean, it's supposed to be the first strategy person in the world. He was a very successful war commander, and he became the father of strategy in modern world. So I think it's quite easy to find that book, and it will be very nice to read it. If you can still see my screen, here you see it. Sun Tzu, S-U-N-T-Z-U, Art of War. Did you get it? I think so.
No, it's different from this one.
Charles, over there?
Yeah, I'm here. Leave that. But we didn't see your screen. Yes, any more? There was another hand up. Is there somebody else who wants to say something? Any clarification? Vidat, you want to show something on your screen?
No, I was just trying to find this book.
Oh, okay.
I think here it is. Yeah, here it is. You see? Sun Tzu, Art of War. This small thing on the right side.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So I think we've exhausted the questions for this morning. Comprehensively, thank you so much, Vidat, for dealing with this topic on strategy. And can you, as Vidat has indicated, we would share the presentations would be online. We'll share the presentations. The recording would also be online on our website. You would download the presentations, and then you would also have access to the recordings. Please, the assignment that has been given is the first step to kickstart the coaching. So we would expect that all interested persons would complete the one sheet that he talked of. With that, can you show that one sheet again as we are wrapping up so that people are very much aware what we expect from them?
It's this one, Charles, and everyone. You can improvise, of course, your values, your vision, your big dream, long-term targets, long-term focus areas, midterm goals, midterm focus areas, key metrics, and the annual team, if you can manage to have one. And at the very top, define your business with its name and everything. Okay. On the slides, there is one which is empty. This one. So you can use this one, or you can draw another one similar to this one. Always good to use your format, but this is basically what we're looking for. If you want, you can prepare something for 3, 4, 5 pages, which is perfectly fine, but you don't have to, especially for a small business, micro and small business. This is perfect if you can have it on a 1 page. Easy to see, easy to read, easy to understand. Okay.
So to wrap up, yes, there's a question from Charlotte. Charlotte, yes, your question is, it's part of the coaching that we're talking of. So once you have a business, you have a vision, and we start an online coaching, we would help you to develop it into a strategy, into a investment pitching, everything that you need would be done. So it's not only for Charlotte, but for all who are interested in the coaching. This is what we seek to do, to help build competitiveness within the sector and get actors have documents ready. On this note, we want to thank all of you so much for joining us today. Please visit our website for the recordings. We want to thank our international expert, Vedat Kuntz, for taking time to give us such comprehensive presentation. And he would also be around in the coming weeks to support us with the coaching session. Again, as was asked earlier, I would please recommend that you get in touch with Na, with Joseph, and with Frank, with all your questions and all the support you need. And then we'll be able to move on from there. Again, visit our social media handles and then follow us and find out what is happening. On this note, before we wrap up, we want to congratulate our 3 winners who responded, amongst a few others who also responded to the impact and then the success story survey that we launched. So we want to congratulate Sylvester, Charlotte, and then Clement for winning the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd positions. They are trending on our social media handles. So please go and like the pages. I mean, they told us and the whole world what they did to respond to COVID. And we expect that as we work together, we'll always be finding out success stories, how we're working. Maybe in the next couple of months, we'll find out how our business strategy has developed, has evolved, and has brought us new opportunities. And then we'll see how people are also faring in this sense. So on behalf of the entire Wacom team, from Vienna, Accra, every part, we say congratulations to Sylvester, to Charlotte, and then to Clement. And on my own behalf, and then our team members, we wish you a happy weekend, stay safe, and then we connect in the coming weeks. With that,
thank you. Thank you, everyone, for participating, and bye-bye. Have a very good weekend.
Same to you, and let's all stay safe. And to our colleague in Vienna, Ebe, thank you very much, and we stay in touch. Have a good afternoon, and enjoy your lunch. Maybe we grab some fufu for lunch this afternoon. Okay. All the best. Bye-bye.
All the best. Bye.